recording. Okay, we'll start you at 20 seconds, and then I'll know how to count on here. Okay, anytime you're ready, gentlemen.
Good evening, Mr. Leo. My name is Jordan Schwartz, and this is Victor, Bowie, and Felix. We are very excited today to present our recommendations for your company, your product's future. Let me first start off by saying that as a group, we were very excited and very impressed by the success that your product has had so far. I've seen it personally in use, and I've seen it with my friends, my family use a product very similar to yours and use your product. So I was quite excited to be able to take a look at what we can do to build your product for the future. We identified your main challenges is what to do with Kinkajou's future. So the product that you've developed has grown very successfully over the last few months, especially since your start on Kickstarter. And we want to make sure that you're able to build to a sustainable future that allows you to use the financial success of this product in order to fund your future innovations, fund your future projects that you want to work on, so that you're not spending your entire time working on just this singular project. So the solution that we came up with was creating demand through a marketing and product placement strategy to target the two customer segments of your product in order to create that demand and then leverage a deal with a large retailer so that you can work towards being in the background and not spending as much time developing your product. So the impact of this would be, of course, personal financial comfort for you, and that experience from taking a product from its very inception all the way to a large store retailer that you'll be able to take to future innovations and future products that you come up with. So the two customer segments that we have identified that use your product, Kinkajou, first off would be students. So the beauty of your product is you're able to create a glass out of something that almost every student uses every single day, or every single weekend. So of course, a staple within many universities is the beer bottles that accumulate in somebody's residence building, in somebody's house. And personally, I know that the ability to use something like this product in order to reduce your costs on spending on dishes, and while also using what's around you, is one of the reasons why we identified students as one of your main customer targets. The second one would be through your users that are using it to create art. So as we know, in Central America and Mexico and different developing countries, there are several people that use your product as a way to generate their daily income. So they're using it to cut and sell these bottles to different travelers, and through this they're basically able to create art based off the extreme functionality of your product. So by leveraging the student side of it as well as the artistic side of what you're able to accomplish with your product, we identify those as your two main customer segments. Going into one of the main questions that you're facing right now is whether or not to go forward right away with a deal with a large retailer such as Walmart. So we started by looking into what would it financially mean for Kinkajou to sign a deal with such a large retailer at this point, and do we actually have the necessary production capacity in order to fill such large orders in order to maintain a relationship with a company as large as Walmart. So going into the financials, we took a little bit of a deeper look.
And with the Walmart deal, we would require a production capacity of 480 facilities rather than expanding over 10 times to have the Walmart deal. In addition, what comes with the Walmart deal is a $1 contribution margin. $1 compared to $26 of what we are currently getting if we take on the logistics and the distribution by ourselves is a much greater option to take on. And also, by taking Walmart onto the deal, we must consider Walmart as a low-price retailer, and the quality of our product is a very highly priced product at $50. Therefore, it is a very high-quality product, and we must consider what type of customers we would demand if we were to sell to Walmart. Because we lack production capacity, the main takeaway is that in order to take on the Walmart deal, we would have to increase our production capacity, and it would produce $480,000 of monthly revenue. But with the contribution margin we're getting right now, with our own personal distribution and logistics strategies, there's a lot of greater potential by taking on our own logistics and distribution strategies rather than taking on the Walmart deal. As you can see right here, currently we have online sales of 1,500, which creates a profit of $36,000 based on a $24 contribution margin and the current sale of 1,500 units. If we take on a global distributor, the demand would be we estimate the demand would be 4,500 to 15,000 units. At 16,000 units, we are already producing half the profit that we could potentially make from Walmart. Therefore, we would be producing less production. We would use less production capacity while having the same revenue as Walmart almost, if we were to double these two demands. By doing so, we hedge our risk of creating too much production facilities by making up our own distribution deal rather than expanding to 10 times our distribution by using Walmart. By doing this, by carrying out our own wholesale distribution, we satisfy our current capacity and have a greater profit margin than Walmart's $1 offer. In considering the Walmart deal and in considering Mr. Laho's background, he wants to develop financial stability for Kinkajou. As an entrepreneur, he understands the difficulties of funding new ventures and that it is important to have deals in place and create a strong cash flow to execute distribution strategies and marketing strategies. In addition, Pat Laho is a quick mover. He wants 1-year commitments. Therefore, it is very important to establish a low time commitment for Pat Laho to Kinkajou. In addition, there must be a long-term sustainable strategy established for Kinkajou in the future. And based on Pat Laho's profile, these are our key recommendations.
Thank you. Well, through our analysis, we have developed our recommendation for you, and it's that when I look at Kinkajou, one big red flag just jumped right out at me was that you didn't have any property rights, you didn't have a patent, and that's why it is that we must make it urgent that we get a patent right away, and that we can secure your product of being imitated by any cheap brand that can make it at low cost and low quality and essentially ruin your business. Also, we need to develop the logistics for your operations of the production. That way we can expand into greater production, into producing more products for your customers. But with our many supply of Kinkajou, it's hard to get it out. So that's why we need to have a marketing and product placement for our Kinkajou, and that will create more demand have a exit strategy which we can hand off our operations to someone like Walmart or any companies that are interested in Kinkajou. So we must first create a big demand for our customers and have a plan for our future as Kinkajou, since we know that you want to go on to your further innovations. So looking at the timeline, we will first know that it's urgent that we have to have a patent established, and then after that we will develop a logistics for production. And through that time, we will also have a marketing plan and a product placement. And then after that, in our long run, we will have our hand off to the company. So we're looking at the patent, and then it would be around 6 months to do so, ranging about $5,000 US. And by doing so, we will reduce the complications with selling products to different US and Canadian retailers in the future. Also, we have to develop a logistical plan for production, which would take around 1 month, and we'll hand it off to a logistical company, maybe say UPS or FedEx. And so after that, figuring out our distributional channels, we can see where we can give it to our distribute it to the international and national retailers, and this will be less than 2 months. So our marketing campaign would be ways to use Kinkajou, because when you buy Kinkajou, the only thing that a customer would think is to just cut wine bottles, but there can be many ways, and that's why we were thinking about going to a university arts class and hold a contest with them. Now, with a $5,000 scholarship, and this will be for 2 weeks, and through this contest, we will see what art design can they make with these glass bottles. And then after these 2 weeks, we'll have a filming team to film these ideas and edit, and then on week 5 we can broadcast the ideas that are produced by these art students. Also, we need to have a product placement, and we will target young students and young adults with low income who kind of would use this product and would need glass cups from getting these glass bottles. Also, we will try to secure Groupon deals which would entice more people to consume our product. And this, we can also have a product placement in our liquor stores and also campus bookstores, which would be our target market.
After the marketing campaign, we could start thinking of our exit strategy. So, like Jordan said, today we have a really successful Kickstarter product that get approved and become a commodity product on your e-commerce platform and some retailers around the world. And as Bowie introduced a marketing campaign to you, we expect that the demand of our products will grow to the point that we can safely hang over to a global retailer, and so that you can continue developing new products and while enjoying stable revenue from this Kinkajou successful product. So the first So we will start off with the, so to increase capacity, we would suggest you to start consulting with the current manufacturing factory partner that you have in China and try to see if you can increase their capacity from 40,000 units to as many as possible. With the marketing campaign in place and as demand of Kinkatsu increases, it is evident to the factory producers that Kinkatsu will be continuing increasing demand so that the factory will also benefit from such increasing capacity and capacity and research, and that they can earn profit. If it does not cover the capacity needed, we could start consulting with additional manufacturing companies near that neighborhood so that we would have a concentrated manufacturing area to ship those products to the retailers. When we're choosing the manufacturing companies, we think that quality is the utmost criteria to consider when looking for signing that contract with the manufacturing companies, because Kinkatsu requires a certain amount of quality precision in order for it to work successfully. So our milestone here would be slowly increase that capacity from 40,000 units to 500,000 units as we continue with our marketing campaign and as we establish our relationship with the global retailers. And our ultimate goal is to have 10% or 20% more of the actual demand with the current demand from the online platforms, e-commerce, and the rest of the retailers. As we continue to build up our capacity, the other thing that we have to do, we have to consider is to establish contacts with the national, international retailers that we can partner with so that we can put Kinkatsu on their shelves. The global retailers came to us previously, Walmart has come to us previously to establish a relationship in hopes of getting Kinkatsu on the shelves. However, in the beginning, we did not have enough capacity and it would be very costly to accept that deals. But now that we have that capacity, we can establish contacts and essentially land a contract with them so that Kinkatsu would be on the shelves of a national retailer, would be on every Walmart store or other retailer stores in US and Canada and other major countries. And when we establishing that contract, we believe that there are a few things that you have to keep in mind. And the number one point is profit split. Currently, Kinkatsu has a really high contribution margin
concern is their products aren't as efficient, aren't as effective, and they aren't as safe as the product that you're offering. So we think that your product is much more differentiated than them, and it's more so an issue of making sure that we don't have imitators on us of your company in the future, so that when you go to the shelves of Walmart, you don't see, you know, 3 other of the exact same type with the same design.
How do you plan to distribute to the South America and Central America target market that you mentioned, developing economies, I guess? 'Cause you spoke about Walmart a lot. Curious how that distribution strategy would work.
Essentially, those customers are using the king cashew as a tool, so we don't have to put it into the retail stores. We can sell it to distributors in batch sizes so that the distributors can sell it to those customers.
You're throwing out the Walmart deal because it offers a contribution margin, you say, of only $1. But isn't that just based on our current production costs? I mean, could we not look at ways to increase that contribution?
Just to clarify, we're looking at the Walmart plan as something in the long term. So once we've developed the increase in demand, once we've been able to increase our capital in order to expand that production capacity, then we would look at going into the Walmart deal. So yes, we would be looking into other production possibilities, but we don't believe that your company is at the point right now where you can expand your production to the point where it would offer that much higher of a contribution margin.
Which retailers do you think we should pursue in the medium term before we get to a Walmart level? Who do you think would be appropriate?
Well, we'd be looking at smaller retailers, such as, it could be potentially, like you mentioned, for the customer segment, such as the students, it'd be places like campus bookstores, so places that sell bottle openers, you know, the different shot glasses, stuff like that. Could be liquor stores as well. On the arts and crafts side, you could look at somewhere like Michael's that sells arts and crafts equipment or supplies, or potentially other smaller retailers such as that.
Arts and crafts side, which target market does that fit most with?
The arts and crafts side is also fit with the people who are using it. The people who are using it in the third world country. The reason why we kind of, I guess, expanded that customer segment into 2 sides, which I apologize for not expanding on earlier, was the reason why we identified that is they're using it for art to sell as their primary income. But we also believe that there's a market within Canada, within the United States, for recreational arts and crafts users. So they are using it for the same reasons, more so out of necessity in the third world countries, but as well as through just the kind of the recreational arts and crafts users. That's the other side of that customer segment.
Where did students come from? The students market come from?
The students market just comes from what we see your product could potentially be used for. So people who, you know, they don't have a lot of disposable income to spend on their dishware, on all of the other things. They're looking to cut costs anywhere they can. So if they're able to use a product like yours, it's a one-time cost, and they're able to get basically all the cups they could ever need based on the bottles that they're already purchasing for their own use. We think that the students are a potential target market because of their needs and the way that they would use your product.
You think that something this expensive, students would buy it in order to make their own glassware?
Well, this is why we'd be using deals like through Groupon, as we mentioned. So we'd be able to offer discounts, potentially offer at a lower price through the campus bookstores or through the liquor stores in order to entice that customer market to use it to develop their dishware, yes.
What sort of a margin do you think that would yield with all that discounting? And how do you think that would affect the perception of the product?
Because Groupon is because university usually runs 2 to 3
that we need to patent what is essentially a glass cutter wheels. And to do it in the US and Canada, when half of our market is in the developing world. Do we need to patent there too?
We believe that the difficulties of patenting and regulating those patents in third world countries is the difficulties with that isn't worth the time and the money in investing in patents. We see the patents more so coming in when you're developing, or sorry, when you're looking to partner with the larger retailers down the road, to make sure that you're not getting imitators within that market. In essence, it's very difficult to control those patent markets when you're looking at third world countries, when you're looking at people who are, basically they're using what they can find. They're not as worried about whether or not that product was actually was patent or it was created legally in that sense.
Do you think Walmart is going to steal the design?
Well, it is something to consider. We believe that your product right now is something that can be copied. We believe that if it's not Walmart, it could be somebody else. It could be another large company that is already distributing at a very large level, at a higher level than you are currently. So we want to make sure that we protect the design that you have spent time working on, and we make sure that in the long run, your product stays your product, that you're always known as the original.
So do you think that myself, I can defend patent against Walmart at the moment? Could I take Walmart to court and win?
Currently,
And I'm
without a
already
patent?
selling too without a patent, right?
Essentially, the patent idea is to maintain the exclusivity of selling the product in US and Canada. We might not be able to go against very large companies like Walmart, but it certainly creates certain barriers of entries for other entrepreneurs or imitators who wants to create a product and earn a revenue out of it.
So these these competitive products that your friends and family already use, are they so different from my product that my product could be patented? Because you need to demonstrate significant novelty to patent something.
It's a much different system for cutting glass, as yours uses the wheels and scoring it. It's a completely different system, and that's why it's so much more accurate. So we believe that it is differentiated enough to be patented, yes.
I didn't understand when you were talking about something that you called the global wholesale deal. What is that, and who is it with?
Okay, the slide, correct? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, okay.
So currently we have online sales of 1,500, and estimating to further expand if we were to further expand our wholesale global distribution, we would estimate that there would be increase in demand from 4,500 to 15,000. So based on our analysis, we analyzed how much demand would be created if we were to go global, with a global wholesale distributor or distributors, and this is the estimated revenue, estimated profit that would be produced.
Okay, so what are the assumptions behind that demand ranging from 4,500 to 15,000?
The assumptions behind this is based on our current levels of online sales. As of right now, 1,500 is actually a very, very conservative approach. And the sales are already increasing to 2,000. So by estimating constant contribution margin of what we're currently using now, $24, and we talked about an amount of 4,500 to 15,000. When we consider global wholesale distributors, we're considering countries, we're considering continents such as Europe, North America, and in addition to Central America and South America. So by considering such a wide range and using a very low estimate of a penetration rate, so let's just say drinkers who use wine bottles in the U.S. and the drinkers, part of the global drinkers are probably maybe like 10% of the population. By using a really conservative estimate of 1%, less than 1%, 0.01, we come up with a high annual demand of 4,550,000.
I'm still not sure what that's based on number of people who drink alcohol? And are they all going to be looking to buy a machine that will score their beer bottles?
The global wholesaler distributor is essentially other retailers who has come to us, such as Walmart.
Her question is, how did you reach 4,500 to 15,000? Is that your question?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Why not 45,000 to 150,000? Why not 450,000 to 1.5 million? That's essentially.
Because of many deals that we are being offered, we have the freedom to choose the distributors who give us a certain estimated demand, and that's the demand that we are looking for currently, that we can enter deals with them.
The number of thin air activities.
Okay. Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about your marketing plan and how it fits with the, I guess, habits and desires of your two target markets? You know, I want to understand how they're going to see these campaigns and how they're going to be relevant to them.
So by targeting our university students, these are the people who purchase alcohol and have low income. They are most likely to use it as glasses, to use your product. And also by targeting art students, we can also see the art side and how to attract our artsy consumers.
Do I have students buying from me now?
I believe so, yes.
Well, currently, if you look at it from a college perspective, let's just say we have a dorm party and a small dorm party of 5 to 10 people, and you got your close friends, the 3 to 5 people. So you guys are together for 1 whole year of a semester, and it costs $50. And you guys all pool your resources, $10 each, 5 people. So you guys are all able to pay for the product. And the reason why students are currently buying your products is because it's an efficient way to create glassware and have glassware ready. When you're a student, you rarely have any glassware, and it's really costly. So by adopting our product, you're able to create glassware. In addition, you're able to afford the $50 by pooling your resources as students.
So are you not talking about a significant behavioral change and something that's potentially dangerous for me to pursue? Because now you're talking about, rather than students who usually go drinking and get plastic cups, to go drinking and then attempt to start cutting glass, which then needs to be filed down to then drink out of. Aren't I setting myself up for something potentially dangerous?
No, we believe your product is able to cut the glass so that it is not sharp, which is one of the assumptions we made.
Doesn't it say in the paperwork that it now comes with sandpaper because it has sharp edges?
Yes, it is.
Mm-hmm. If you're also, with whatever this wholesale distribution thing is, you're going to be increasing your production dramatically. How are you going to maintain quality from your manufacturer? Do you have any concerns with that, and how are you going to address them?
We're going to continue monitoring with the manufacturing company and have more inspection in place per batch of products produced, so that assured that Kinkatsu, whenever we cut the bottle, we can cut the bottle successfully and seamlessly.
So, according to your analysis, you don't think I should just focus on one target market? I should not only continue to focus on the do-it-yourselfers plus the emerging markets, but also branch off into students as an entrepreneur, as an early stage entrepreneur.
Sorry, can you repeat your question?
So, you're suggesting, after analyzing my business, that at being an early stage entrepreneur with two incredibly separate target markets, I introduce a third target market of students.
We believe that students do fall under your low income target.
For my $50 class cutter.
Pardon?
For my $50 class cutter.
Yes.
What are my other options?
Well, the
What
other
would it mean for me if I did something else?
Well, the other option right now is to look at taking the Walmart deal right away. But we think that without developing the demand base for your product, and then without having that production capacity, we don't think that you can necessarily meet the supply capacity that you would have to for Walmart while keeping the same quality of your product. The other option would be to just continuously work on growing your company slowly. However, we identified that the amount of time that you're spending on filling the Canadian orders by yourself, by packaging and sending them out yourself, is taking up your life, right? So we want to make sure that you're able to develop a strategy quickly, so that you can start moving on to your other products that you want to work on, your other innovations. We don't see Kinkajou as something that you spend the rest of your life on. We want to get you set up so that you're on a great development path, so that you can work on other things. So that was the main reason why we wanted to come up with a plan that was quick acting and was able to take you from where you are now to that large retailer. But we felt that it was necessary to create that demand and to increase that production capacity before you're able to actually pass it on to a large scale retailer.
Why do I need to create the demand? I mean, if I want a quick out to move on to my other projects, why not sign with Walmart? Let them worry about the demand.
Well, because of Walmart's strong marketing power and because they're a really giant retailer, if we were to increase our capacity 480,000 units per month, that would include a large fixed cost onto us. In addition, if we don't work on creating demand for our product, can we just merely let Walmart buy a product? What if nobody buys the products at Walmart and 10 products per week is a very, very strong estimate. It's a very big estimate. 10 bottle openers per store per week is a very big estimate. And if Walmart isn't selling the product, they can cut us off, and then we end up with a bunch of production facilities and large fixed costs, and we can possibly even go into bankruptcy, which is certainly what Palanco does not want, because he is seeking financial stability for this project.
Which markets did you consider in selecting your target markets, and why didn't you include them in your recommendation? Which other markets, and why did you kind of kick them out? Said they weren't appropriate. You say no other ones. You said that.
Well, when we're considering the King
summarize in one sentence what the Kinkajou does, what need it fulfills, what does the Kinkajou do? Jordan, value proposition. What's my value proposition for the Kinkajou?
Well, you're able to take the design that companies have built through their bottle designs from different beverages companies, and you're able to leverage that into different forms of art.
Right. So, not necessarily to make cheap glassware.
Not necessarily, however, it
Okay.
can be used for that.
What is my market? So I've got two markets. I got students, I got developing countries. You talk about students and art projects. What's my marketing plan for developing countries?
So just to clarify again, the market that we identified through the developing countries was more so the way that they used the product. So the way that we wanted to target, it was okay on that side, on the, yeah. So the reason why we identified the developing countries was because the way that they use the product is basically to create art from it. So instead of actually marketing to the developing countries, since they're already using it in that way, we wanted to use that similar concept of creating art out of the glass cutting and use it in North America. So through this campaign, through the marketing campaign, we wanted to leverage the ideas of students, of design students. So we wanted to see what they could come up with, what they could create out of just a simple glass cutter in order to broadcast the ideas, the different ways that this product can be used. So when you start looking through different sites such as Pinterest, where people are posting their different crafts and whatnot, we wanted to leverage the arts and crafts side of it. So when we're talking about third world countries, it was more so just, it was the way that they use it, and then bringing that back to the arts and crafts segment within North America, within Canada. That was our other customer segment that we targeted.
So how much of my business right now comes from developing countries? The rest of the world?
Sales-wise, I'm unable to provide that information.
Was that in the case? I thought that it was.
It wasn't in the case, but you can assume based on that it is mainly a Canadian manufacturer, that's a very approximate, that's a very relatively medium market share of our market.
Isn't it manufactured in China?
Well, yes, it is manufactured in China, but the main customers are North American customers.
I think it says it actually, Sarah.
Hmm?
Oh, no, it says it on page 5. He was surprised to find there was strong interest from Mexico and Central America.
Okay, so the assumption here is that you guys have made is where I design it is where I'm selling it, basically.
Sorry?
If that's your guys' assumption, that it's mostly Canadians buying it.
Just based on where we've been selling it so far.
Okay.
are there other international deals? And if there are, what sort of contribution are we earning on those ones? Or are you talking about hypothetical deals that might arise?
We're talking about deals that were provided to us by the information that you gave us. Just they are at this point theoretical because they weren't able to expand on any of the dollar values that would be needed. But we assume that the contribution value, or sorry, the contribution margin that you'd be getting from smaller international retailers would be your share would be larger than it would be at somewhere like Walmart.
But you can't quantify what you think the difference might be.
Well, we think that once you factor in the additional logistics of transporting to international countries from China, you would be looking at possibly around $14, $15 of the contribution margin as opposed to 24 as you're receiving right now.
What's our capacity right now?
40,000 units.
And what are we using?
We have currently placed an order for 5,000 units.
Over what time period are we talking here?
Well, we're currently on pace to sell 2,500 for the month of February.
So we have a lot of excess capacity. And is your marketing plan going to get us up to that 40,000?
Between the marketing plan, placement within the student market as well as international retailers, we hope to work our way up towards the 40,000 mark. Yes. At that point, as Felix mentioned, we would like to work with the factory to make sure that we're maintaining the quality of our product and potentially increase the capacity of production at the current manufacturing facility.
What's our current contribution margin?
$24.
Okay. And with these new sources of demand that you've identified that you think you're going to be able to tap into with your plan, will our costs change at all?
As we start looking towards different retailers, our costs will increase slightly as we work on our logistics, especially in Canada, as we currently have a logistics provider making sure that the orders get to where they're going. We're doing that personally, so we think that the main cost will be the logistics. However, in the United States, currently have a logistics program set up that is a very nominal rate compared to where your sales are.
What are most of my customers in Canada doing now with the product?
Currently, it's being used for glassware or for different arts and crafts.
Is there any reason to think that I could use it for similar purposes, DIY people, green enthusiasts, etc. in Canada?
Sorry, different purposes it can be used for?
Yeah.
Well, that was one of the reasons why we wanted to have the showcase through the design school. So